I'm freezing. I shall never survive the night.
My body temperature is 95. If you wish to be warm, Dr. Smith, come into my arms.
I'd rather die.
Lost in Space premiered in 1965, running for 3 seasons and totaling 83 episodes. The show was the brainchild of Irwin Allen, who both created and produced it, driven by his deep passion for the sci-fi genre. The show began with a serious premise. The Robinson family, comprising Father John, Mother Maureen, daughters Judy and Penny, and son Will, embarked on a mission to a planet near Alpha Centauri. Accompanied by Major Don West and a talking robot, their goal was to explore the potential for human colonization. Here are the 10 weird facts you might not have known. I emphasize the word might because, well, maybe you know them all. In any case, I do hope you enjoy the video. Be sure to stay to the end for a special bonus fact.
We need to gather more information about this new planet. Don, you take my 16-year-old blonde daughter out in the chariot for the rest of the day. Penny, you stay here with me. And Will, you and the robot go out into the uncharted wilderness and take this mincing boy-hungry pedophile with you.
Number 1. The Robinson family's origins extend beyond television. While the family is best known for their adventures on the small screen, their journey began in the pages of a comic book. It was called Space Family Robinson and introduced readers to a family of scientists navigating the cosmos, complete with their pets, a dog and a parrot, that didn't transition to television. This comic inspired the creation of the TV series, part of a strategic cross-promotional effort aimed at boosting the popularity of both the comic and the show.
Ole! Salud, muchacho! Salud, Dr. Smith!
Number 2. At the start of the series, Billy Mooney, who played Will Robinson, was 12, and Angela Cartwright, aka Penny, was 13. Mooney had a crush on his on-screen sister from the beginning, and made his move 2 years later after obtaining his driver's license. It was the first romantic relationship for both of them, lasting several years. They were briefly engaged, but eventually called it quits. Despite their romantic involvement ending, Mooney and Cartwright have maintained a close friendship over the years.
Oh, cool it, man. Will's a big boy now, and I'm a big girl. So why don't you just go back with the rest of the olders and leave us to do our thing?
Number 3. Guy Williams, who played John Robinson, had already made a name for himself with his starring role in the television series Zorro. When he joined Lost in Space, he believed he was stepping into the lead of a serious drama. However, as the show evolved, it leaned into campy humor, relegating Williams to a supporting role. Disillusioned by this shift, Williams withdrew from acting after the series was canceled. He later retired to Argentina, where Zorro enjoyed immense popularity, and lived there quietly for the rest of his days.
You seem to forget who's in command here. It is I who give the orders. Your job is to obey them.
Number 4. Despite starring as young Will Robinson, Billy Mooney was also a fan of Star Trek. During his time on Lost in Space, he even lived near William Shatner, who portrayed Captain Kirk. In 1998, Mooney guest starred as Colleen, a Starfleet officer, in the Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode, The Siege of AR-558. He appreciated that this role allowed him to play a human character, avoiding the extensive prosthetics often required for alien roles. Beyond acting, Mooney is known for his musical talents, particularly as half of the duo Barnes and Barnes, famous for the novelty song Fish Heads.
Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, eat them up, yum.
Number 5. Dick Tufeld, a distinguished voice actor and narrator during television's golden age, is best known for providing the voice of the robot.
Warning, warning, it will not compute. Danger, Will Robinson.
His portrayal became synonymous with the show, much like the Vulcans in Star Trek.
Fascinating.
In addition to voicing the robot, Tufeld also served as the series' narrator, lending his distinctive voice to both roles. Tufeld's association with the robot extended beyond the original series. He reprised his role as the voice of the robot in the 1998 film adaptation, bridging the gap between the original series and the cinematic reboot.
Destroy all operating systems. Destroy Jupiter 2.
Hey, if you're enjoying this video and wouldn't mind helping out the channel, please tap that old like button. Thanks. Now back to the countdown.
Gonna jump down, turn around, pick the golden nugget. Gonna jump down, turn around, picking gold all day.
Number 6. The abrupt cancellation of Lost in Space at the end of its 3rd season left the Robinson family's fate unresolved, a narrative thread that remains tantalizingly incomplete. The final episode saw the family stranded on an alien planet, their survival in question, and their journey home indefinitely suspended.
There was no closure there. There was no wrap party. There was no, we finished this series. There was no goodbye. I cried. I literally cried when Lost in Space was canceled.
Hopes that the 1998 feature film might provide closure were dashed when the movie concluded with the Robinsons leaping into an uncertain future, leaving audiences with yet another cliffhanger. Number 7. Jonathan Harris, a late addition to the cast after the pilot was filmed, was initially relegated to the last spot in the cast listing. Undeterred, Harris suggested a unique solution. He would be billed as a special guest star, a distinction he retained despite appearing in every episode. Dissatisfied with the original conception of Dr. Smith, whom he found uninspiring, Harris reimagined the character. With the producer's encouragement, he infused Dr. Smith with the flamboyant and melodramatic flair that would become his signature, transforming the character into a fan favorite and one of the most memorable figures in the show's history.
Hey, wait. I saw that Lost in Space movie. You are not Dr. Smith.
Oh, the pain, the pain, the pain of it all! My dear boy, I'd be happy to show you my resume if you'd care to meet me later in the food court.
Danger, danger, Bart Simpson!
Silence, you nickel-plated nitwit!
Number 8. The robot costume was a formidable creation, weighing approximately 200 pounds. Designed by Robert Kinoshita, the mind behind the iconic Robbie the Robot, the suit was a marvel of its time. In 1965, while stuntman Bob May was rehearsing on a studio lot, he caught the eye of producer Irwin Allen. Allen offered May the role of Robot B9 contingent on his ability to fit into the bulky fiberglass suit. Initially, May had to trigger the robot's torso lights by pressing a button with his head from inside the suit. Number 9. Perhaps no Lost in Space episode is more notorious than The Great Vegetable Rebellion, the ultimate in silliness of the series. Screenwriter Peter Packer was so unsure of his script that he reportedly hid it behind his back when presenting it to Jonathan Harris.
He came into my dressing room one day, and he had something behind his back. I said, "What you got there?" He said, "You won't like it." I said, "Let me make the decision. What have you got there?"
The story has the crew turned into plants by a, believe it or not, giant sentient carrot. Alas, Lost in Space only lasted one more episode. Number 10. Jonathan Harris' portrayal of Dr. Smith, the iconic antagonist, nearly didn't happen. In the unaired pilot episode, both Dr. Smith and the family robot were missing entirely. Instead of Smith's sabotage setting the family on their doomed journey, it was a random encounter, with a meteor shower that led them astray. Now for a bonus fact. The intertwined history of Star Trek and Lost in Space reveals some intriguing connections between these two iconic science fiction series. First, during the development of both shows, Gene Roddenberry pitched Star Trek to CBS around the same time Irwin Allen presented Lost in Space. CBS opted for Lost in Space, deciding that one science fiction series was sufficient for its lineup. Did they make the right choice? What do you guys think? Second, when Lost in Space depicted aliens with pointy ears, as seen in episodes like The Haunted Lighthouse, the show borrowed the ear molds from the makeup artists working on Star Trek. I heard Mr. Spock was over the moon. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I hope to see you again next time.
It is Dr. Smith who is a bubble-headed booby.